I thought Midland, you played pretty well against Midland in here in your home place on Thursday. Let's start off right there.
Yeah, we did. We kind of struggled a little bit. Got a little bit of foul trouble, I think, in the first half against Midland. But then we had our full complement of players the second 20, and I thought defensively we were pretty sound. We probably controlled the glass and and hit some shots. So the end result was a 15-16 point victory at home against at that time a pretty good Midland squad.
I think a couple of the keys that stuck out for me, Kendall Emerson, I thought shot the ball awful well here at home against Midland on Thursday night, and really kind of gave you a good outside threat to kind of complement Yannick Morin underneath.
Yeah, that's definitely been our Achilles heel this year is the inconsistency from outside. When we do hit shots from the outside, we're a difficult team to deal with. But we've been pretty up and down. I think everybody knows. You get into conference and people do a particularly good job of knowing who to try to isolate and what have you. And so we struggled there. The next two games, we didn't. We just haven't done as well. Particularly over in New Mexico, the second half against Howard. Just have a hard time getting the ball in the hole.
Howard, the second half, a couple of things jump out of my mind. One, the Forte kid off the top. You really struggled trying to figure out how to cut him down on that isolation. And up Michael Carina got a few stops on him late, but he really hurt you coming off the top of the key on that isolation player.
Well, the very first time he took the ball, I thought this is going to be a mistake on their part. And, he went up to the top of the circle and got the ball. They run a little false motion stuff, and then they gave it to him, and told him to drive the ball. And I thought, hey, this is going to play right into our hands because he's going to attack. At the time, it was Yannick, and right at the glass. But he took it right at him and went right through him and laid the ball up. And I thought, uh-oh, here we go. This is not going to be a good thing. The dilemma that we were in was we could come off with a couple of guys and not let him go, quote unquote, one-on-one, but we had really done a good job on Philip Miller and Jacob Thomas at that point. And I think they both ended up with single digits, point production. And those were the two guys that we were most concerned about, honest to goodness. So I didn't want to stop what we were doing with those guys. And then I thought, well, we can go to the other end and just pound it inside on Forte. We have a 13-point lead. Hey, we'll swap baskets with you, the rest of the way, and we should be okay. But we did a really, really poor job of exploiting them defensively at the other end. And I think that was, for the strategy that we had, that's what we did not execute. We did not make him guard at that end of the floor, and it ended up costing us.
And be it right or be it wrong, I was kind of thinking the same thing in back half. We'll go down to the other end and pound the basketball down low, and it looked like that was the operation that was trying to be put in place. Just didn't get executed.
No, it did not at all. And each and every time out was spent saying the same thing. You've got to go low. You got to go low. You got to go low with the ball, and they just, for whatever reason, we just we didn't get it done. We clipped out of that game 26 opportunities where guys caught the ball and just either A, did not look there, or B, chose not to throw the ball straight to the block. And when your strength is your inside people, and you do not throw the ball down in there, you got to go back to the drawing table and get that thing straightened out. So we really tried to work on that. We go to New Mexico. We start off, high. We threw the first pass away trying to get the ball down low, but the second one went to Yannick right over the top and laid the ball in the basket, and we're off and running. And then we get a couple of touch fouls, and the whole complexion of the game changed. And Yannick's out on the bench, Michael Carina's on the bench, and we just never could. We never could find a rhythm after that.
Yannick gets a little bit of trouble. Carina gets into some trouble. You don't have Forrest Robinson to go to, and now all of a sudden you really looked like you're having to piece together that defense and offense, especially down to the paint.
Well, and it's one of the first times that I've ever drawn up an offense
Right back to the action coming up on Thursday against Western Texas here. And although that record doesn't look very good, you know, this is a conference I think about anybody can snake bite you, and you certainly got to be ready to go Thursday night.
Well, I don't even know what record you're speaking. Ours doesn't look very good to me. Is that the one you're talking about, or are you talking about theirs?
That one as well, I suppose.
You know, I don't know. No, I mean, they're a lot like the team that we played first semester, Hill. They don't really have a low post man, so they kind of spread the floor and dribble drive you and things of that sort. And we've had a couple of guys that have had difficult time staying in front of their men. Subsequently, they get fouls. Kendall comes to mind. Ryan comes to mind. Those guys that want to be aggressive on the ball, and they're half a step behind when the guy drives, and they reach and grab and what have you. And so they get to spend a lot of time sitting with me on the bench. So, you know, that's something that we're going to have to come to grips with and try to deal with. It is nice to play at home. I think for some reason we play just a little bit more confidently here at home than we have, you know, basically away from here. We definitely need about 9 games in a row at home, I think, if that's true. Don't think the schedule comes out that way, but it'd be a welcome present at this time.
All right, Coach. Final thoughts for us today before we get ready to wrap it up and get to go to the floor and take on the Westerners on Thursday.
Well, we're glad to be at home. Like I say, you know, you get into a routine where we're looking forward to, you know, possibly getting. I think next week, maybe getting Anthony back. I mean, he'll be another big guy that when we get in a little bit of foul trouble, that'll help us. We're hoping to get a good report on his health and that he'll be back, and we'll see what happens. But we're 4 games. We're done with a portion of the baton death march. Is what I called those 3 games. Bang, 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 and. I guess they're going to come around again in February, I think. So we'll see what happens. If we can keep the guys fighting and what have you, you know, I think this is a year. Obviously, there's no great team in this league that's going to, you know, run the table. So this is a year maybe where 3 or 4 losses. You're still in the thick of things.
Next time your travels bring you to Levelland, make the Best Western South Plains Inns and Suites your home. With wonderful amenities that include all king-size beds, free high-speed internet, indoor heated pool and spa, business and fitness centers, and a complimentary hot breakfast that will get your day started right. We are located at 204 College Avenue and proudly support the Texans and Lady Texans. Best Western South Plains Inns and Suites.